Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and today we've got none other than my December 2018 bullet journal plan with me. It is finally the last month of the year. I can't believe it's been yet another year past. It went by so fast. But first things first, I'm going to show you guys how I added in those last few pages for my bullet journal, because I did run out of pages. And what I basically did is I got a little set of pages from another notebook like this, and I just basically cut out the actual booklet bit of it, because you know how books are like set in there are a bunch of different booklets just sewn together, if that makes any sense. You kind of just rip it out from the stitches in one pack, and then I just use a rubber band to put it in to the end of my notebook. So I put the rubber band in the middle of the middle page, and there you go. That's an extra booklet in your bullet journal without using any pains from glue or anything. And then I just kind of used a bunch of washi tape to kind of mask some issues that I had on this page, but that was unrelated. Yeah, I was just explaining why there's a lot of washi tape on there. But with that done, I just basically started doing my December bullet journal spread. And for December, I wanted to do a snow theme, because last year I did a Stranger Things theme with like all the lights and stuff. And this year I wanted to do something snow related. So I wrote out December in these like bubble letters, and then I just drew like a layer of snow on top of them. And I think it ended up looking quite cute. So yeah, I didn't just drew out some snowflakes around the title. I'm also showing you guys here how I draw a bunch of snowflakes. I basically just went on Pinterest and looked up a bunch of snowflake designs and used them as inspiration. So if you are doing a theme like this, I'd highly recommend having a look at different kinds of snowflakes and just pick out your favorites. So I just picked out a couple of designs that I wanted to use, and I just kind of started going all ham on these snowflakes. And I'm using my Art and Fly Fineliners for pretty much all the spreads in this setup. And because they've got really thin fine liners, it's really useful to draw out all these snowflakes. So then I went in with my Tombow dual brush pen in this light sky blue color and added some shadings to the snow. And then to make the title pop out a little more, I went in and just colored them in black. And I think this made the title look much better, because it just made a huge contrast with the snow. And I liked it a lot more. So then I just added a little monthly view at the bottom, and that was it for my title page. And then we went over to my monthly spread. So I am using kind of the same situation as I always do for the monthly view. It's a 5x5 sort of grid, and then I started off, before I drew out the grid, I drew out the snow first, so it would overlap the grid, and I drew like this layer of snow on top of my monthly calendar, and I drew also in the days of the week, just kind of peeking out of that layer of snow. I did go in a bit later to add like a bit of a border around them, but for now I just kind of wrote them down, as well as December up on the top. I decided to keep everything very minimalistic, just because it was very simple, the theme, and I wanted to keep it very simple and easy to look at. So after I drew out the grid, I went in with my Tombow dual brush pen and added again those hints of blue into the snow. And with that done, I went in and added my monthly goals and my YouTube planner. And because I recently invested in my new favorite white gel pen, my Signo Uni-Ball white gel pen, I, in this month, did a lot of blocking out with black and then writing over the top of them with white. And I am in love with this white pen. Honestly, it's probably my favorite one that I've ever tried. So I really recommend it if you guys are interested in a really opaque, good gel pen. This one is definitely one that I recommend. And then I thought the boxes were looking a little bit too plain, so I added a bit of a shadow to the boxes, just using my calligraphy pens from Banggood. And then I went in and obviously wrote down my monthly goals in white. And then, of course, I added a little bit of a box shadow and actually drew out the box bit for where I'm going to write down my monthly goals. I didn't film this because I did this a couple days after filming this. I added a little bit at the bottom there underneath the monthly spread. There's like an empty space just under there, and I just added a little box where I just say what I want to remember for next year, so for January mainly, and that's kind of what I did to fill up that area. And then I went in and added a shadow to my little areas on the side with my Tombow dual brush pen, of course. And I kind of decorated the rest of my bullet journal with some really cute washi tape, just to kind of add that pop of fun in there. And here you can just see me adding those little boxes that I mentioned around the days of the week, just to make them stand out a little bit more. And I was just coloring them in there with my other Tombow dual brush pen in like a more grayish blue. And with that done, it's time to go into my habits and expense tracker. So I am kind of still doing the same habits tracker, that I started like 2 months ago. So writing them all with different monthly trackers individually. And I really like this one. I've been keeping up with my habits a lot more since I started this method. I kind of put in all of my trackers, so I just then filled in all of my habits and then wrote in the days of the month 9 times. And with that done, I went in and added, obviously, a layer of snow on top of each one of the titles, just to make it look like there was some heavy snow, and there's just this big layer of fluffy snow on top of them. And then I also added a little bit of a shadow behind each one of the titles, just to make them stand out a little bit better. And then, of course, I went in with my Tombow dual brush pen to color them in. And I will be using my Tombow dual brush pen in the darker blue to fill in my habits tracker, just because it is more noticeable and it differs from the color of the titles. So that's pretty much what it looks like. I also added a cute little quote just at the bottom there in the empty space that I had. I added a quote that says, "A dream is a wish your heart makes when you're fast asleep," which is from that song in Cinderella that I really, really love. And it's a very cute song, and I just thought it fit in nicely. And for my expense tracker, I kept it the same as I always do. It works for me every time. So I kind of whiz through these by now because there's nothing new that I add to them. So it's just a basic grid, a plus and a minus, and then my description bar, as well as a total in the last row. So I can monitor how much money came in and how much money went out. And then, of course, using my Tombow dual brush pen in a light gray, I go in and I shade every other line or every other row to help me kind of track which row I'm on. So with that all done, we are now heading on to my weekly spread. And as you can see, this is where the middle of my new set of pages is, because you can see the rubber band. But it's fine. I really don't mind it. If it is something that bothers you, you can always obviously use tape or something else to cover it up, or just even stick them in using tape and glue. But I tried to use glue before I used this method, and there was a lot of mess, and it didn't really stick properly, and pages were like falling out. And this was the best method that I could think of that involved less mess. So yeah, I just started doing my weekly spread. I'm using the vertical rectangle spread that I usually do, just because December is going to be pretty much a busy month for me. At least the first 2 or 3 weeks will be really busy, because I got a lot to get done before I go home for Christmas, so I need all that space. So then I use my Tombow dual brush pen to kind of make some little circles on top of the blackout rectangles to write in the days of the month. And then I use my Signo white gel pen to write in the days of the week on top of those blackout rectangles that I did. And then of course I just made that little line at the top third of my rectangles to separate my events from my tasks, as I always do. And then of course I just wrote down my weekly goals over there on the top in the last column. And then with all this free space, I just went in and drew a bunch of little snowflakes kind of falling, and I also used some tape to decorate some of the empty spaces, as well as using one of my pictures that I keep in the back of my bullet journal. I chose this little one of 2 puppies because puppies are the best and they make me very happy. I used tape to kind of stick that picture in, and that was that. So then after leaving a bunch of pages for the rest of the weeks for December, I did a little spread at the end that was my 2019 and my YouTube planner. I've got a post-it note going on in my room already with my 2019 goals, so my resolutions basically. So I'm gonna stick that in probably here. But this is where I'm gonna write down everything that I need to remember for the beginning of 2019. That I can then transpose into my 2019 bullet journal, which is coming very, very soon, guys. So this is pretty much it for December, guys. I'm just giving you a little bit of a run through here of this month's setup. I am actually quite happy with how it turned out. In the end, it's very simple and very, very cute, but I like it very, very much. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you set up your bullet journal along with me. If you do recreate any of these designs, do not forget to tag me. I love watching you guys recreate my bullet journal spreads. And yeah, have a great December, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye-bye!